College Kings, it's back, ladies and gentlemen. CDM, the co-host, of course, is here, as always. CDM, I know it was a rough weekend, but how you doing?
We've had time to cope and, time to realize, but it's been good. It was a great weekend, but I mean, what a game. What a game.
Both.
What two great games. Two of the best college football games college football playoff games I've seen in a while. So it was spot on. Committee got it right. But yeah, man, I'm good. There's always next year. Always next year.
You're dang right. Good positive attitude there from CDM. Yeah, I mean, it's college football is so awesome. And this season was like, we needed a good playoff, and that's what we just got. And it's not even over yet, and that's like the perfect. Like what just happened, those two games is exactly what we needed. It showed exactly how tight this season was. We'll talk about those things. Like CDM just said, the committee was right. Let's bring in a guest that might have an opinion on that.
Let's bring in our special guest of the night.
Yeah, we got a little special guest. Y'all requested him to return. He was the entertainment of all entertainment last time he was on. He's got to be on. He's got to be on for the championship conversation here. Let's get him in. Let's get him in for a little bit of a recap on the college football playoffs. The one and only Nolan Lee. How we doing, brother?
The tide go down, baby. The tide go down. Ooh, the tide goes down. It's going to be back. It's going to be back.
Oh, I know you're happy to be back, Nolan. What an entrance there to kind of, really.
Yeah, you set the stage for me, brother. You set the stage for me. I appreciate that.
And CDM just flipped off the camera, so we'll have to decide if we're going to leave those in or not.
I think you should leave them in.
Yeah, no words were said. No words were said.
So. No words were said.
Yeah, it's just kind of, take it how you want it. All right, it's all good. Hey, Nolan, we just talked about it. What an incredible 2 playoff games. Just give me quick before we dive in deep here. Man, quick thoughts on those 2 games.
I mean, it was so awesome to see 2 good college football playoff games. Like, just feels like I can't tell you how long it's been since we've had 2 awesome college football playoff games, semifinal games. Usually feels like one of them is a runaway, just like shouldn't have been played, but like it was perfect this year. Perfect playoff games this year.
You're so right.
I agree.
It's so right because, I mean, God, these games were just so impressive this year. And that's the biggest thing right now is just, man, after an amazing season, we were able to get a almost perfect ending. We haven't got the perfect ending. Everyone knows what the perfect ending is. Am I right, guys? Am I right? It's for the Huskies to,
I thought you were talking about Jim Harbaugh riding off of the sunset.
About to say Jimmy Boy's about to win it all.
Those narratives, though, those are both like awesome narratives. 0-5-star football team, Washington, built from the ground up, versus Michigan. They've been trying to get here. Finally get there. Jim Harbaugh's out the door. He's going to the NFL. It feels like almost a done deal. So, all right, guys, that's enough build-up. We're going to talk about all those things in the college football playoffs, as well as some little fun little topics as well. And then Nolan's going to get out of here. He's got a job to do. He's a teacher. So Nolan will be exiting the podcast after our college football recap. And then me and CDM will give you all some reaction to some of these bowl games, some of the things that happen. Recruiting and transfer portal, it's still active. It's even though that national signing period or signing days passed, there's still recruits on the move and some interesting transfer portal news we'll have to kind of cover and talk about. And then I know CDM saw this. We do have to give him his flowers real quick. CDM officially led in record with game picks this year. Yes, he did. 70-36. Good job. I finished.
Thank you.
I finished.
I noticed that too. You can't catch him, but you can get one game out.
Yep.
One game out.
Can't quite beat him, but hey, CDM, what a season! You got anything you would like to say about your season picking games?
It was a fantastic season. I think my game picks were pretty spot on the majority of the year. I always have to go back to the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who got me here.
Yep. First
week, give it to prime time in Colorado Buffaloes for taking down TCU week 1. Always going to remember that pick. Thank you, Colorado.
Isn't it kind of crazy? It came down to that pick too. Yeah.
It really did. It really did come down to that game, and
that's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy that I actually picked them to win, and they pulled off the upset.
Like seeing how their season ended up going, it's crazy they actually won that game now, isn't it?
Yeah,
it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean how terrible they ended the season. Even though,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
even
I
though I'm the
just-
primetime defender, I mean they were horrible at the end of the year. Let's be honest. All right.
Yeah, they were god awful.
All right, let's not get into a primetime conversation. Let's talk about the primetime games for the college football playoff. Oh my gosh, we've already laid out the groundwork. What an amazing matchup in both games. But of course, we're starting with that Rose Bowl finish as the Wolverines finally break through as they take down the Tide in what we said was a classic. And I think we're all in a complete agreement on that. Let's start though, CDM. This is your team, so we'll let you start this one off. Thoughts on the game and what you learned about both of these teams.
Man, this game was just fireworks. Exactly what I expected. Two hard-nosed defenses playing against each other. Two offenses that take their time figuring things out. Michigan, had some small mistakes at the beginning. We thought they had a pick at the beginning of the game out of bounds, and then the muff punt, which led Alabama to draw first blood, and then Michigan came back on the next drive, went downfield. It was just amazing. I think both teams played like the best ball games they played all year long. It was two of the best. It was two of the most memorable, two of the most pristine programs in college football going up against each other for a chance at a national title. And I give my respect out to that Michigan defense. That Michigan defense is legit. I'm telling you right now. Alabama, we had opportunities to win. I'm not putting it all on our defense. They played an amazing game. The offense just had some bumps in the road to go through. Michigan's defense came to play, man. They turned on to a whole different level than what I've seen all season. And I'm one of the people that said, they really haven't played against anybody, and when they do, they're going to crumble. And they came and played against one of the best teams in the country and showed out. So it showed me that they were always going to be prepared for a game like this, especially the third time is the charm, as most people would say. And going through the third time against Bama, that's hard. That's a hard team to play against, but they pulled it out. JJ McCarthy had an amazing game. If you have a guy like Blake Corum on your team, I promise you that he will clutch a game out for you. There's no joke about it. And then Jim Harbaugh outcoached the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Saban. And it's hard for me to say that. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it showed it on Monday night. He got outcoached.
Yeah, I was going to just show this real quick, y'all, just to show how big time this game was. This is the viewership of this game. If you're not watching, it is, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. Michigan's Rose Bowl victory over Bama drew 32.8 million TV viewers at one point. That was their peak. And then the average viewership of 27.2 million. That makes it a top 10 cable telecast of all time, best non-NFL sports event since 2018. NFL dominates no matter what. And then most watched college football playoff semifinal game since 2015. Crazy stats there, what this game pulled. I mean, everybody was watching it. Everybody was entertained and wanting to see what would happen in this one. A lot of fans on both sides. Apparently, Michigan did take control of the Rose Bowl itself. I heard they have more fans there, about 60-40. No surprise, just, flying and getting there and stuff. But, yeah, man, Nolan, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this game? You learn anything about these two teams?
Man, it was just, I think the craziest part about this game was both teams were they wanted to make the least amount of mistakes, and they wanted to make it go to the fourth quarter, which in turn made them make more mistakes. I don't know. It was like they were both like on eggshells the whole time. It was like both of us don't want to make the losing play. Neither team wanted to mess up the entire game, it felt like. And it was a game full of mistakes, it felt like. I mean, you dog Michigan for all of the – I mean, the special teams could have ended the game for them at the very, very, very end before it went to overtime. And then Bama struggles with this damn center that can't snap a football. So, I just remember, Bama had a chance in the second half I think they were in a spot where they could kind of take control of the game, and they were either at around the 50 or it was just past it. And then they have two snaps that they lose control of. And it's just like, dang, that was like a total momentum killer right there. And it had nothing to do with anybody else on the team except one player. And it's just like, dang, that is just tough. So like I said, it was just that game was full of just mistakes, and it was who could capitalize on the mistakes. Like Bama took that first muff punt in for a touchdown and kind of drew first blood, got the game going. And it was a fun game to watch. I mean, Michigan's defense is exactly what we thought it would be. They are as advertised. I will say Bama was able to run the ball on them okay. Bama had an okay day on the ground. But Bama can run the ball, so that's no surprise. Especially with Jalen Milroe a threat. So I think it was the biggest test for Michigan all year on defense. And while it wasn't perfect, like they did what they were supposed to do. And I'll tell you what, Michigan, I'll dog JJ all day, man. JJ balled out, man. He wasn't Patrick Mahomes though, but he doesn't have to be. He can rely on that run game. He can get a few yards him running himself. And when it was time for him to step up and put a game-tying drive together, he did it. So kudos to him, man. It was crazy to see. When I saw Bama go up by a touchdown, it was like, well, Michigan's got a chance, but I really don't think they're going to be able to go down this field. I feel like they can, but I didn't really think that they could. So I didn't really think it was going to happen. So shout out to Michigan for that. And yeah, it was a freaking awesome game. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, you're telling me, man.
True.
I mean, like literally,
You're preaching to the choir.
Does not get better than that. And I'm not gonna harp on it. Y'all kind of hit on the big ones for me. I mean, it really, the thing for me in this one, you kind of hit on it too, Nolan. When it came to the coaching, for me, like, it just felt like one of the greatest coached games. Not because they made the perfect decisions and stuff, but just because every counter was countered. Bama would do something. Michigan was right there in return. Bama would mess up. Michigan was going to mess up too, it felt like. Every single thing happened for a reason in that game. And and you kind of talked about it, Nolan. I got it wrote here. It's like what happened every moment in that game, everything that happened was controlled by these coaches. And that is so rare, it feels like now. Like, it never felt – there was multiple games this year where coaches never felt like they were in control. I saw the thing with Mike Tomlin. Like, he was seeing the game. And, yeah, there was moments in that game where it was like mistake. But the coaches were like, all right, we're not going to get too aggressive here. Or we're gonna get aggressive here. So, for me, it was just like, what a coach game, man. Like, Nick Saban, Jim Harbaugh showed up, dude.
Well, they said that when Nick was breaking down in the post game about why they decided to go with the play that they went with in overtime, they said that they brought a look out there. They were going through their 2-point plays basically, because it was a 3-yard line. You can basically run your 2-point plays from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they go throw out their first play, and they liked the look. It was one play they called. They liked the look. Michigan calls timeout, and so that stops that play from happening. Then they go back out there the second time with another play, with their second play, and then they don't like the look of that. They don't like the way it looks on defense for them, so they call a timeout. So now you're on your third play. You have to go through your third play call from inside basically the 5-yard line, which is so hard to get. And it just kind of goes back to what you were saying, Nathan, where it's just like the coaching battle. It's just Jim knew what Saban was going to do, so he called a timeout. Saban knew vice versa. It was just they knew what each other were going to do, and it's about who's going to execute this play at the very end. No timeouts left. Nobody can stop the clock. This has to be the last play of the game. Who's going to execute? And unfortunately, Bama didn't execute. I think Michigan played the play well. But the thing that had hurt Bama all season long was this freaking center. Yep. And this is a low snap. Timing of the play gets off, and the rest is history. So I don't hate the play call. I feel like you could have maybe gotten a little more creative from there, but at the same time, they probably were trying to get creative, but Michigan had it covered. So Milroe has done it up for you all season long. I mean, it would have been one thing if you dropped back and did a QB draw with Tom Brady from there. I mean, you did it with Jalen Milroe, so I mean, you had a shot. So
yeah, hey, well said, dude. That's where I was going with this. Is like people are going to talk about at the end of this game how Bama, poor coaching from Bama. What a terrible play call, and you laid out the groundwork there. It was their third play call. People just forget about the timeouts before those plays. Reacting to reactions. Jim just called the perfect play on the perfect down. And like you said, Alabama couldn't execute on that one down. It came down to one play from one player. And for me, it's just like people dog that play call. And I'm not saying it's like the perfect play call, but you said it, Nolan. Milroe has been the guy all season that make those kinds of plays. Auburn, Jalen Milroe made that play. Yeah, it was a hell of a catch. But Milroe made that play. City. You're putting that ball in Milroe's hands. He's done it all season. You don't just all of a sudden say, yeah, we're going to run out the middle with McClellan, even though he ran the ball great. You don't just, say a fade to the corner. Then they're saying, oh, that's uncreative. It's supposed to be, I heard correct, it was supposed to be an RPO. But like you said, Nolan, timing gets all messed up. Jalen has to do the run immediately. There's no chance for that play to even develop. It was all execution. It was all coaching. And I don't want to hear nothing about Alabama poorly coaching that game. Or you got to overtime with possibly the best team in the country. Alabama wasn't even supposed to be in this game. And they had a chance to win that game. I mean, we saw all the mistakes from Bama all season. People talk about this is an odd Alabama team with Nick Saban, just looked off. And it's like, for me, that's not what I saw, guys. That's not what I saw.
In my opinion, Bama basically controlled the whole game. I mean, if it weren't for Bama, at the end of the day, Bama's going to be so pissed off at themselves because they beat themselves. It was one of the worst, Bama was this close to winning the game and going to the national championship. It was one of the worst played games I've ever seen from Alabama, with the exception of a couple. And I could count it on one hand, games that are similar to that. I mean, anything that could have went wrong. I mean, the bad snaps, Jalen had that fumble earlier in the game. I mean, it was just every time Michigan needed to catch a break, they caught it. And even when Bama got up by 7, I mean, you got to give Michigan credit. They did their job and they went down and scored. But it was Bama was in control, it felt like, up until Michigan got that touchdown. So, there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're Alabama. The only thing you're going to be beating yourself up about is you wish you just could have played a more flawless game, a better executed game. But you went toe to toe with possibly the national champion this year, and you just say, look, we weren't. You hate to say we weren't supposed to win it this year because that's the expectation every year is to go win a national championship. But they're going to be back. They'll be back next year.
They'll be back, CDM. They will be back. And, we're going to kind of, branch this conversation a little bit into, something someone said in that game. It's kind of a conversation about that guy we're just talking about. J.J. McCarthy had this to say after the game against Alabama. This guy's a possible recruit or prospect in this coming up draft here. And he had this to say about Ohio State in sign stealing. I'll give you all a little bit of people that are listening here. McCarthy believes 80% of teams steal signs, accuses Ohio State, end quote. I don't want to say a crazy number, but I'd say a good number. 80% of teams in college football steal signs. It's just a thing about football. It's been around for years. We actually had to adapt because in 2020 and 2019, when Ohio State was stealing our signs, which is legal, we had to get up to the level they were at. All right, that they were at, yeah, and we had to make it an even playing field. So I just want to show you that because I just saw that. But the conversation is that guy? Is that gonna go to the draft, guys? If he wins the Natty, does he go into the draft? More like should. JJ go into the draft. All right, Nolan. Hey, Nolan.
I don't think so.
Hey, y'all jumping on it. Nolan, you go ahead. What do you think?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's going to get really interesting if Jim leaves Michigan, though.
Does he want to go play for someone else?
If Jim leaves Michigan, then maybe he just says, look, I did it with the coach I wanted to do it with. I've had a good enough college career. I might get picked up in the second or third round because here's the thing about JJ. He could really improve his draft stock next year, or man, he could just absolutely destroy it.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I'm just nervous of, man. So it's an interesting question. I think he'll stay. I think he's going to come back next year because he can make himself a first round draft pick next year. So
yeah, that's where they got him late first, kind of early second. I don't know. It depends with everything.
I think he's third. I think he's going to end up being a third rounder if he goes this year.
I would say early. I would say late second, early third type player. I mean, he's had a really good career. I mean, he's had Jim Harbaugh his entire coaching career, so I can see his entire playing career. So I can see if Jim does ride off in the sunset, finish his career at Michigan and go back to the NFL, then JJ will more than likely not follow Jim Harbaugh per se, but follow to go into the NFL draft. I just don't think he's there as a player yet to really take that big leap into the NFL just because he's had the best O-line the past 2 years. He's had a Heisman contending running back right behind him. He's had decent players on the outside at wide receiver and tight end. He's had the perfect system around him. So I don't really feel like right now, if he is to go, that he will be as successful. I mean, he'll find a nice if he goes, he'll find a spot to land, be a backup quarterback for a couple of years probably, depending on who drafts him, who wants to take the risk on him. But I don't really think right now his game is going to take the leap to the NFL like the majority of the quarterbacks we're seeing right now, and Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix. I don't think his game's there yet. So I would like to see him stay another year, just depending on what happens after next Monday.
Yeah, y'all kind of laid out what I was thinking in a way, man. I don't think he should go into the draft. I think there's still potential to be tapped, and the NFL is fast, it's strong, and a lot of great players. And my only pushback is what Nolan said. His coach is leaving. And after seeing that post game with him and Jim, how tight they are, like I'm almost to the point where I'd be shocked if JJ doesn't go into the draft, just because, especially if they win a champion, especially if he goes out there and balls, and his last 2 games in college football are his 2 best games of his entire career. Woo! Because, I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this class, and man, if I'm JJ, I'm not mad about being a second-round pick. You can go to you can go to a great team, man.
It's like one of those things where we've kind of had conversations about this, Nate, where it's just like, yeah, you could be a first-round pick, but if you're a first-round pick early, you're not going to a good team.
No.
So, what? I mean, you think about it. It's a team that needs a quarterback. Like, imagine if he got drafted in the second round by, like the Seahawks or something. Like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Vikings.
Or the Vikings. It's just like, dang, maybe they try. I don't know.
Hey, call me crazy. The Saints might be in on something like that. You know, get a guy behind Derek.
We've drafted quarterbacks the past couple of years, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go for a guy in the second round. Like, Penix is probably not going to fall in the second round anymore. Maybe a Bo Nix
is there.
Maybe Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is first round. Sorry,
I think he's mid first round now. I think he falls behind all the other guys now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough question for JJ, man.
Isn't it?
Well, my thing is, I feel like if he took one more year of college, his thing, he's gotten better every year. I think, in my opinion.
Yep.
He needs to improve in being a passer, no doubt, and his IQ needs to improve. Just like know where to go with the ball, what situation to go with it in, and I feel like that if he gets drafted this year, I feel like he's going to be sitting the bench anyway. So yeah, I'd stay another year, get another year of playing football.
Yeah, and that's the big difference between JJ McCarthy and this guy we're about to talk about. In Michael Penix Jr., who is an absolute assassin, a technician out there on the football field. I mean, what we watched him do on Saturday night, I mean, that makes you kind of question some things. Was this guy a Heisman snub? Well, let's talk about this, guys. Let's talk about Washington getting past the Longhorns with a legendary, I already said it, legendary game from Michael Penix Jr. All right, guys. CDM, start us off here. Give me your thoughts on this game here and Penix's performance.
I mean, it was as I said before, another great college football playoff game. The second best game of the night so far. The second best game of the night. Um, Fireworks everywhere, explosive offenses. The defenses kind of were there at one point. In the second half, they kind of slowed up a little bit. But Penix, man, I'm telling you, that dude could sling a ball downfield, man, and
Almost
he's
let it
putting it
fly.
on. He's putting it in the bread basket. It's going to be there. I mean, plus with the wide receiver he has outside with Odudze, with McLean and all of them. I mean, he's got people. He's got people to throw to, and then you
Polk,
add
yeah.
Dylan Johnson in the
Ugh.
backfield to hand the rock off, get you 5-6 yards.
We're losing you, Carson.
Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back. All right, we're back. CDM, sorry. Let's go back.
Okay, sorry. Yes, as I was saying, Penix can just put the ball right where he needs to put it, and Texas has nothing to be ashamed. Texas did everything they did, everything that they came up to this season. They lived up to the hype. They just it came down to a fourth down. These two games came down to a fourth down to decide who's going to a national championship, and it just didn't. I mean, first off, when I watched it, it was AD.
Dang, Carson, what the hell is going on with your mic?
I have no idea, bro. Like it's
Talk.
hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. We're not
Okay.
we're not cutting into this, so this is all.
No, we're not going to cut this. Okay, sweet. Well, I'm so sorry about this. This has never happened before. But no, Quinn just floats the ball up to him in the end zone. Doesn't hit him in the chest, in my opinion. I feel like he should have put a little bit more mustard on the ball and hit him right there to at least score that touchdown and probably send it into an overtime game as well.
No, they didn't win the game.
Mm-hmm.
That would have won the game.
It was a 6-point lead, so yeah.
Oh
won the
yeah,
game.
okay, then yeah.
It won
yeah.
the game.
That's the worst. Okay, so yeah, that's even worse though. Like
That's so much worse.
Like
so
I mean, that's so much worse to not even hit him. Like I understand you're trying to give the receiver a spot to play for, like trying to give him a 50-50 ball, but you have about 5 yards of separation. You could totally sling that ball in there, and I promise you he's going to catch it. But back to Michael Penix. I don't think he was a Heisman snub, but he did throw for over 430 yards passing, which he's like the fourth or fifth quarterback in college football.
Yeah, 430 is crazy. All right, see.
Then I don't know. I'm getting a notification.
I think it's just lagging.
I think it's just lagging a little bit. But for him to come out there and the journey that he's been through since Indiana and all the doubt and since the injury when he tore his ACL, all the work he's had to come through, he's showing off and showing out that he is one of the best college quarterbacks in college football right now. And he showed it on one of the biggest stages. I mean, no, he didn't make any mistakes at all. He played smart football. He knows how to read a defense. He's patient in the pocket as well. They actually ran him a lot more in this game than they have these past two seasons. I mean, what I saw in the highlights, they had some quarterback design runs, which he averaged I think he got 10 yards of carry on both of those runs. So I mean, he's opening up the playbook for him as well, and that's going to confuse that Michigan defense. But Michael Penix played one of the best games of his career, and I'm excited to see him play on the big stage, especially since this is the last year in college football. I'm excited to see where he goes after this as well. But if he can end on a high note, I think that will boost him up to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks drafted this year.
Yeah, man. I mean, he is absolutely unreal. I kind of get my little spiel here real quick. Here. I mean, hey, Penix, man. I mean, I love the guy. He is literally unreal with his accuracy, with his patience, with his timing, with his IQ. I mean, he is an absolute assassin on that football field. I mean, there was plays in that game that let's be honest, that was probably the best game of his entire college football career. He showed up in that moment, ready for it. He opened a lot of eyes to a lot of people watching football right now, and a lot of NFL scouts saw what he did. Is he a Heisman snub? No. Of any other year, you could make that conversation. Jaden Daniels was rightfully the winner. Yes, I understand. Penix undefeated on one of the best teams in the country. Like, I get it. I understand. But these games don't count. Obviously, the Heisman's already been given. But I mean, if you ask me about Penix, I mean, in my opinion, you can make a case that he's the best quarterback going into the draft. This whole entire conversation around Caleb Williams being number one without a doubt, Drake May being number one without a doubt, and Jaden Daniels being up there. Personally, I don't think it's that far of a reach for you to say at least he's in the conversation of those guys.
I think if he wins, then he elevates himself above. I would say maybe Jaden Daniels going. He's already above Bo Nix. I mean, he's beat him twice. I mean, he's already over him. But I feel like if he wins the Natty, I think he's over Jaden Daniels, or possibly I would say over Drake May. I don't know. I feel like if you were to like blindfold me and tell me the stats, I would between Drake May and Michael Penix, I would pick Michael Penix Jr. I feel like Michael Penix just has a better arm. Drake May is a little bit more athletic, I would say, than Michael Penix when it comes to getting out of the pocket. Because Penix, when he gets out of the pocket, he's looking to throw the ball more than likely run the ball. But I mean, I think he could project himself to be top 3. I'm not going to say right now he's better than Caleb Williams, just because Caleb Williams is a totally different breed of a player.
I hear you, man. It feels like one of those things that he could be an absolute guy in the NFL.
And I totally agree with you on that as well. Like, I absolutely agree. Like, his better years are going into the NFL.
You never know. You could draft JJ and he could be a guy. You never know with these quarterbacks anymore. It just feels like watching him in that game, like, God, that was an NFL quarterback on that field, man. He's got the best arm in the class, in my opinion, and I love him. I've respected him for a long time. We've watched him since he was at Indiana doing his thing, and now he's on the doorstep of a championship. Insane. All right, Nolan, that's my little spiel on Michael Penix. What's your thoughts on that game and his performance?
It's we've all answered the Heisman stub question. I think it's one of those, like, if it were any other year kind of things, he would have won the Heisman. I mean, his numbers weren't even that crazy. I think let's all like kind of take the brakes on this like Heisman snub thing. Everybody thought that Bo Nix was going to come in number 2, so let's all chill out here.
Do you want to say I got that right? I did say Penix for me too.
Penix almost lost to Washington State, so let's all like just chill out a little bit.
Good point.
Ohio State gave Michigan a run.
What?
Huh? What'd you say?
I thought Ohio State was supposed to beat Michigan too.
Supposed. Did anybody actually pick Ohio State? Did anybody actually pick Ohio State to win that game?
I mean, with confidence. No, I don't think anybody picked them with confidence. I feel like somebody just picked them just because nobody wanted to see Michigan win. Nobody picked that team out of confidence.
I know Dima Mixon picked them.
Was anybody actually taking that pick seriously?
Somebody really take it. Think about it for real. Did anybody really take that pick seriously when it comes to picking Ohio State beating Michigan? The way that Ohio State played this entire year.
Let's get off of Ohio State.
You're right.
Distracting.
Nathan's trying to just hype up.
Carson, you're the one that brought this up. I don't know what you're talking about.
All I'm gonna say is that Penix had an unbelievable game against Texas. I think the sleepiest part about Washington is that they are like a sneaky physical team, and their defense is sneaky good. They just looked more prepared than Texas. Like, I don't know what it was, but they were locked in, man. They were completely locked in. They knew what business was they needed to go do that night. And Quinn had an off night. I mean, it happens. I mean, you're not going to always, Quinn had an off night, man. Penix was just unbelievable. Some of those throws he made, dude, it was just like, my God.
It's NFL type throws, dude.
It's like, man, he had one on the sideline. It was like back. I mean, tell you, bro, it was so beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I mean, I watched the highlights today. I mean, there were throws that Quinn Ewers couldn't even make in that game, in my opinion. Like, none of the quarterbacks in these playoffs could have made any of the throws that Michael Penix was making.
Quinn was just off, man. Quinn was just off. The only thing I'll say, though, is that it's just kind of weird. I mean, a 14-point game or 13-point game is really not that big of a lead. But, man, it was a little scary how Washington kind of let that game get away from them. They were one play away from losing that game when they were in complete control of it the entire time. If Texas would have won that game, I think everybody would have I think everybody would pick Michigan with flying colors this coming up week because Texas did not deserve to win that game. But they didn't, so it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. But the Longhorns were a little they didn't impress me as much as I thought they would. I thought that Texas would come out just a little bit better than what they did. But shout out to Washington, though. I don't want to take anything away from Washington. They came out ready, came out prepared. They came out ready to show everybody that they are the only undefeated team outside of Michigan left. And it's going to come down to one team getting it, one team not. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be freaking awesome to watch.
Yeah, shout out to the Big 12, always making the playoffs and always finding a way to choke it away as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Big 12 teams do not have good college football playoff resumes.
Hey, TCU the only one to make it to the championship.
I will say though, how about the fact that Michael Penix has beat Michigan once already?
He did.
And Jim Harbaugh at Indiana.
Yeah, he did. At Indiana, he did. In Ann Arbor too. That's even better.
It's meant to be.
Yep.
It's meant to be.
Meant to be. Meant to be.
It's going to be a firework game. I'm telling you, Houston's going to be rocking.
Yeah, let's talk about fireworks after that football game between Washington and Texas. Some fans were really irritated after that loss, and some of the players for Washington were real happy. Let's take a look at this. Oh, we don't have audio because there's a lot of curse words. There's a lot of curse words being thrown. Oh,
we run the South.
Jeez, run the South, huh? Oh my gosh. Oh wow, he's mad. That fan was mad, dog. Look at him. Oh, my favorite part. My favorite part is
they did horns down to him.
Hook horns down. I just saw that. He hooked them down to him.
My favorite part is this kid beside all these guys. This dad, like he's totally watching his dad. Look at that. Like the kid's in it. The kid's in it. You see?
Yeah. Gotta learn early, man. Gotta learn early.
Gotta teach them while they're young.
Gotta teach them
exactly.
This is how you play football. This is how you watch football. Yeah. As a fan, that was incredible to watch. Honestly, I'm not mad at either one of those people. You know. Players are happy, hyped up. They got the win. Texas fans.
I would say, you run the South. Those are some fighting words down here. I don't know about that one.
That is some.
I don't know about.
It felt like good fun though. Like it felt like just like friendly shit talk, didn't it?
It didn't look like friendly shit talk.
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. But it didn't feel like anybody was. It didn't really feel like anybody was really trying to fight nobody.
No.
Like in my opinion,
No.
I feel like they were dishing back and forth.
Yeah, it was the only thing that was crazy to me was the kid beside him. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, the kid
going at it's always like the cherry on top.
That's
right there.
so terrible for parenting, but I love it because hey, why not, man? Why not? I just thought that was a funny, funny here.
I love it.
All right, let's go Washington. Hey, Washington's gonna get the job done, guys. Washington's getting the job done. It's over. All right, let's get into a quick conversation. We've already hit it.
Bro forgot they were in the Pac-12.
Bro. Hey, no, I thought the Pac-12 was supposed to be dead.
It's over. This is it. It's the last game of the Pac-12 ever.
Oh, but they're in the championship.
They made it this far.
Yeah, it's the last game.
Bro, they played a team from the Big 12. What did you expect?
Oh,
they played the best team from the Big 12.
He's talking about.
Was it the best team? Oklahoma beat the best team in the Big 12. Is that what we're saying right now?
Oklahoma didn't even make it past Kansas.
That's what I'm saying. They lost to that team.
They did beat Texas.
Texas. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, let's really sit down and think about this.
Hey, let's not disrespect the Conference of Champions. That pause.
Moment of silence.
I don't know if I heard that right. I think my headphones were cutting in and out.
I heard it wrong too. I thought.
Keep going.
I think you heard that correct. I think you heard that correct. All right, let's get into the conversation. Let's talk about if the committee got it right. Did the committee get it right? I think we can just fly by on this one. Yes,
absolutely. The committee got it right. If Florida State was in that Michigan game, it would have been over by halftime, even if all their players were in.
Well, y'all are saying that Georgia wasn't one of the best 4 teams.
If Georgia was in it, it would have been a better. I mean, yes, I think if Georgia was in it, it would have been I think it would have been the same, but not the same. You know what I mean?
Nope. Georgia didn't deserve it.
Okay, as long as Nathan say it, then I'll say, yeah, they lost the wrong game.
I'm not saying that they did deserve it or not. I'm saying were they one of the best 4 teams?
I don't think you can say that, man. I don't think they were better. Maybe they were better than Texas, but
That's what I'm saying. That was the only point.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I think if you
Maybe.
put Washington versus Georgia, you get like a nail biter,
that's such a good game.
or an even better nail biter than what you already got. I mean, the game was perfect, but if Georgia's in it, oh my gosh, to go play for a three-peat, they're
I'm
not.
sorry,
losing
man.
that
I
game.
think all I'm going to say is I think every team in the playoff would have been a lot more nervous to play Georgia than they played Texas. Let's just put it that way.
Fair.
Oh, facts.
That's fair.
They were the number one team all season long. And yes, I agree with both of you. I've said
29.
it. I've repeated the same thing you said, is that they lost the one game that they could not lose.
29 straight games, man.
That was one loss by 3 freaking points, dude. One loss by 3 points, and they're just out. 1-6.
Yep.
It's tough luck. It's tough luck. If we were talking about it at dinner, if Bama would have lost to Auburn, do you think Georgia would have got in the playoffs if they lost to Bama?
That'd have been spicy. I don't even know if Bama makes it, do they?
No, Bama wouldn't have made it. So I think if Bama beat Georgia,
losses.
I think it would have been either. I think you would have had a stronger argument for Florida State to make it, but I think they would have still given it to Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Florida State.
Ah,
Ah,
jeez,
Nolan.
Oh, God.
Nolan.
It's my fault.
Dang it.
I love
It's my
that.
fault. It's my fault.
Timestamp.
Oh,
Timestamp.
so close.
No, we were not. We're not really that. We actually are
That's my
pretty
fault.
close.
It's okay.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
I love that.
I haven't realized I did anything wrong. I think I was just mad I was talking crap about Florida State.
Oh, no. I mean, you were speaking facts. You're speaking facts.
Nothing
I mean,
was wrong with what you said, Nolan. Let's just be honest.
Nothing was wrong with what it's the delivery of how
My
you
fault.
said it.
My fault.
It's okay.
My fault.
It's okay.
Hey,
It's okay. We'll get
all
better
good.
next time.
My fault.
I think
My
that
fault.
I think that leads us perfectly into this last question. Besides another question we're gonna ask Nolan after this, as the 4-team playoffs come to an end, gentlemen, what a time to be alive to watch all of the college playoffs. 4 teams. It was incredible. But I'm gonna ask y'all real quick, what is your favorite 4-team college football playoff moment? CDM.
Does that include like championships too, or just like the
Yeah,
playoffs?
Yeah. Well, that's the playoffs. Yes.
Oh man. Oh, I mean,
question is
playoff
that?
championship. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. So many good moments. I want to say 2nd and 26, but I've already said that before on this podcast. So I'm gonna have to.
I was betting money on you saying that. So
No, I'm not gonna say that. I would say one of my favorite that's not an Alabama play would be the Rose Bowl between Georgia and Oklahoma. That would probably be one of my favorite 4-man playoff moments. Georgia, Oklahoma, overtime. Sony Michel sends the Dogs home to go play for a natty. One of the best, another one of my favorite Rose Bowl games of all time. That one right there always lives in the back of my head because that was such an amazing game too.
yep.
Man,
Yep.
if they would have went to that, if Oklahoma could have won that game,
It would have been this. I'm sorry, they would have played Bama, and guess what? They got smacked.
would they? That was the
Yes.
Jalen Hurts year.
Is also the Tua year too, but I mean Oklahoma's defense was atrocious.
That still, their offense was freaking legendary.
Oh yeah, I mean Baker Mayfield was out there. Yeah,
That'd
obviously
have been
they
such
were
a fun
good.
game to watch.
That would have been a fun game. It would have been.
It would have been a really fun game.
Their defense was not have been good at all, but
Yeah,
it would have
you
been a fun game.
All right, Nolan. What's
about you,
your
Nolan?
favorite college football playoff moment?
I thought Carson was going to be a homer, so
too.
I was also going to be a homer, but Carson was a homer, so it'd be okay. I think that my favorite college football moment, playoff moment, I have to because LSU's only been in the playoffs one time and then won a natty, so I got to go back to my roots. I'm actually not going to say anything about the Clemson game. I'm going to say that putting up over 40 points on Oklahoma in the first half, Justin Jefferson having 4 touchdowns in the first half of that game, that was like peak. Like it was just like
Yeah, that was peak.
just
college.
legendary. Just like it didn't feel like anybody was going to beat that team. Just awesome. Just a fun team to watch. Like we went through so many terrible teams for that moment, and it makes me so happy.
Yep, and I completely agree. If you're going LSU, you got to go the Oklahoma game. The Clemson game was great, but that Oklahoma performance was
Just
storybook. Like that was the most
Yeah.
crazy performance from a single team I've ever seen. I am gonna go. Sorry, CC, I'm to do this to you. LSU is definitely my number one, but I had a feeling someone was gonna say LSU, so I was gonna try and find something that I remember dearly that stuck with me. And I got to be honest. I know you're not gonna love this play, Carson.
You're gonna say Zeke taking it to the house, aren't you?
That's a good one. I did think about Zeke. But I'm actually going to go Clemson beats Bama on the
Goal line.
pick play. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, it was a pick play, buddy. No. That's still that will go down as one of the greatest plays of all time.
It was so good. Yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite moments, just because that was when Clemson broke through and everything, and Deshaun got his chip, and I mean that game was amazing.
So awesome.
Oh yeah,
and
it was
so
great.
awesome.
It's hard to put yourself in that mind, but like remember how like everyone knew it was gonna be Clemson Bama every single year for like 4 straight years. It was just like, yep, Clemson Bama, they're the teams. Yep.
Who are you taking for the natty? Clemson Bama.
Clemson Bama
All day, every day.
I don't know who's gonna win, but Clemson Bama.
Clemson Bama.
And that was similar to like those Warriors and Cavs seasons.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
I'm about to say that's like the perfect comparison for that rivalry right there.
It was just a lock every single season. So, I mean, that first time seeing Clemson kind of break through and get their first chip with Dabo, it was pretty awesome. So, I'm gonna have to go with that one.
I'll say an honorable mention goes to TCU clapping Michigan.
That was
to
fun.
go play for a natty. That was also a good moment as well, because it was the first Big 12 team to actually go to a national championship. Did they get blown out? Yeah.
I was going to say that Georgia moment should have probably been the best one, right?
And I mean, they did get blown out, but TCU making the championship was like a good honorable mention to have.
I like that. That was fun to watch. I was rooting so hard for TCU, and it's not similar at all to this season. Am I right, guys?
What about Ohio State missing that field goal last year?
Oh, dude, yeah. That's another one.
That one was tough.
That's another one.
That one was pretty crazy. That was pretty awesome. But
It's been some good. This 14 playoff, like everybody talks crap about college football right now and how NIL is this, that. 14 playoff isn't working. Blah 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 blah. What I'll say about the 14 playoff is it had to start somewhere. It had to start somewhere. We were begging for just something. Like what it came down to. Just some guys in a room deciding who was going to go to the championship before. And now it's like, okay, we have something that kind of works. Let's see if we can make it better.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited we get home college football playoff games next year.
like
I know, dude. Just
Imagine how electric that will be, bro.
Oh, the 12 teams going to be so amazing. 12 teams going to be so
Not that Penn State will be hosting any playoff games, but imagine a whiteout.
Hey man, I'm not gonna. Hey man, just imagine like Death Valley just erupting in a playoff game.
That would be awesome.
Or like Oxford, like Ole Miss.
Gee,
that would be even.
Yo,
more
what if Southern Miss gets in as the 12 seed?
That's
They
possible.
they need Jesus Christ taking snaps under center.
Hey, Will Hall's
What
coming
if
back.
they go to Tuscaloosa?
Oh, dude, I'll drive to that game for sure. I'd drive to that game. I would go to that game. I mean, would it be a slaughter fest? Absolutely, but I would go and watch that game.
Southern Miss would have to be undefeated, slaughtered everybody, and be the best.
Yeah, dude, they would have to put up at least like 40, 50 points a game, undefeated season. Like they would have to have a miracle.
Bro, you're gonna need a team like Florida State this year, or like USC last year, because USC last year was terrible, and
That's fine.
and no disrespect, but all disrespect, and so I just don't know if a 12 seed is ever gonna beat a 5 seed, but it's cool that they'll finally get an opportunity for it.
Yeah, like if like a Liberty having to go and play, I don't know, an Oregon, something like that type.
Liberty would have played Florida State this year, which
That would have been a fun game.
that'd been a fun game.
Yep.
That would have been a game to watch.
That would have been an interesting game, right?
Yes.
Now Oregon tore them up. Oregon beat them up, bro.
So bad.
I mean, yeah,
That's also why 12-team playoff would have been awesome this year, bro. Because Oregon, I know they lost to Washington twice, but I'm so high on Oregon this year, bro. Like it just felt like if they would have had a chance at this dance, they could have won it all.
Hey, but
Did Nolan just say he was high on a Pac-12 team?
He must be.
Stop the
boozing.
presses. Wait a minute.
I'm just saying, Oregon was good, bro.
Hey, hear me out though. Like Ole Miss, hot late. That would have been a fun team to watch late too. Like just.
Oh yeah, that would have been a really fun team.
This doesn't agree.
Didn't they kind of struggle against Penn State for a long time?
They would have had to play Georgia.
They almost lost to LSU, so I mean that does kind of.
They would have to. Yeah, they would have had to play Georgia if they had a 12-man playoff.
Oh God, what a horrible matchup for.
Yeah,
Ole Miss.
just imagine you just have to go into Athens in a playoff game. Nope, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Nolan, you got to head out. We appreciate your time, but before you
Yes,
get
sir.
out of here,
Loved it, sir.
you have to make your prediction here, Nolan. Let me give you the look here of this game. I'm also going to show you a little bit of something here. Let's see here. Oh crap! Hang on. So that's the game, Nolan. 4.5, Michigan in favor. So, Nolan, what are you thinking here? Are we, what are we thinking, Nolan? Because I'll show you this. First of all, let me show you the tail of the tape. Let me show you. Let's see where we got this. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, tail of the tape. There we go. Look at that.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. So Nolan, 14-14, got the 37.6 points per game for Washington compared to 36 for Michigan. But Michigan has three number one stats here on this page here in points per game allowed, and still by a good bit. Yards per game allowed, and still by pretty good margin. And then the turnover margin, they moved into number
Just
one.
ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
Ridiculous on that turnover margin.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know, bro.
Yeah.
Plus 17, good God.
Yeah. So, Nolan, I think I've given you enough of this picture here. Go back to that. Nolan, how are we feeling about this game? 4.5's a little bit. I think it's going to be moving. Actually, it might have moved since we started.
It'll definitely move. You got the two teams in Houston. Monday night. Undefeated for everything.
The line has not moved.
Comes down to Michigan, the juggernaut. It's been building for years. Jim Harbaugh took those losses to Ohio State, took them in the chest. Said, I'll be back. How many have they run off in a row now? 3, 4 in a row against Ohio State? Can't lose to them. Got J.J. McCarthy running the offense. Got that defense taking that ball away. Got dogs everywhere. Not going to talk about the special teams. We're just going to move on from that.
Tough subject.
And then you got Washington. Just the team built from grit. Got the team representing the Pac-12 in its last year. Michael Penix slinging it around. Got a defense full of dogs, guys that want it. Got just a team well put together. Two teams that are really well put together. Great chemistry on both teams. You could tell that both of those teams, all those guys want to do it for each other. Both teams really, really want this moment. Michigan has been the team all year, coming for number one. Washington has been doubted all season. They got their shot at the dance. Do I give them the kiss of death? Do I give them the kiss of death, Nathan?
It's your decision.
Do I give them a kiss of death?
It's your decision.
Give me Washington Monday night. Give me Washington, bro. Give me Washington. Winning this whole thing. Give me Washington. Give me Washington.
Nolan, let it fly again. Who cares?
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Let's go. I'm glad you kind of come to your senses there, Nolan. Not let your bias.
I'm letting my vibes take off here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have the fun pick. Screw it. The only thing that held me back a little bit. That Michigan defense is so good. That Michigan defense is so good. We'll see though.
We'll see.
We shall see. Nolan,
I appreciate it, boys.
yes.
Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you once again. And hey, let's get you back on. The season's over, but College Kings is never dead. So we'll have to find some time to get you on when we get into draft season. All right.
Don't worry, we'll be talking about who our next defense coordinator is at LSU.
Oh, you're right.
Hallelujah.
Praise
God. Thank
God.
you. It's finally over.
It's over. And that's a perfect way for Nolan to get sent out here. LSU's coming back for it. Defense coordinator's out. All the defensive staff's out.
LSU will be in the Natty next year. Y'all just wait. Y'all just wait and see Garrett Nussmeier take this team to the promised land. Yeah, Carson's speechless. He loves it. He loves that take. He loves it.
That's a spicy take right there, my guy.
I'll see
Spicy.
you boys.
I'll see you, Nolan.
Say Nolan. All right. We'll be back in just a second. Thank you, Nolan, once again, for joining
boys.
College Kings. All right. Peace. We have returned. CD.
We are back.
Nate Dahl. Yes, damn right. We are back. We are back. And Nolan, awesome segment there. Amazing segment.
Love to have him on, dude. Always nice to have a new voice on the air.
Damn right. Damn right. And he came in hot. That's for sure. He came in hot, and that's what we appreciate. So appreciate Nolan once again for coming on the podcast. We're going to do a little bit of looking around college football as, season unwinds. Teams have finished their seasons. Only 2 teams' seasons are not done yet. So firings and hirings. This one is about firings, and I'll tell you, a fan base has been lauding for this for a while this season.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yes, indeed. Brian Kelly. He has announced it. Yes, he has. We are going to be seeing a new guy at the defensive coordinator position here for the LSU Tigers, along with a bunch of other defensive positions. Apparently, they cleaned house. So, I don't think
they needed to. I mean,
Yes.
with an atrocious defense like that, man, I mean, come on.
It was absolutely atrocious. Just terrible, horrible. Never want to see that ever again in LSU history. It was one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. I've seen some really bad LSU defenses. So I can't say the worst. So, you remember when we had the Claiborne, Mississippi State.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad. So it's not. I don't know if it's been the worst season I've ever seen, but thank God it's over. Brian Kelly, good move. Kind of reestablish a little bit better foundation here at LSU. Get some guys in, and hopefully he can turn around, keep turning around LSU with these fires and hirings of a new guy. Be intriguing who they get. I'm not too entirely sure what the market looks like. College football is a little bit harder to predict when it comes to these coaching vacancies.
Yeah,
maybe they'll hire in house, or they might go crazy. I've heard Freeman. I've heard about Freeman maybe taking that.
Marcus Freeman, the head coach for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yeah, the guy that just took our offensive coordinator.
No, he's not leaving. No, why? Why would he leave? No,
you're right. It's not gonna happen.
Why would he want to coach? Why would he just want to be another under the coach that left?
Okay, listen, Carson. A man can dream.
A man can dream, but sometimes dreams can't come true.
You're right. It's over. It's okay. I understand. All right. That's all we're talking about with LSU. Hopefully, we could turn this thing around next season. A team that is looking to get back into the big dance next season is the Georgia Bulldogs after they slaughter the Seminoles.
Murder.
The Seminoles.
60 points.
It's just ridiculous. Absolutely just a joke of a football game. We're not even going to talk about the game. You know what happened. It was as bad
if you
as
watched it, you saw what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how terrible it was going to be, and it actually was worse, let's be honest. So, we're not talking about the game. We're going to talk about the opt-outs. And should opt-outs be banned? We kind of talked about this before, CDM, but, after that, I mean, that was a joke of a mashup. So, CDM, what's your thoughts on opt-outs, man?
I mean, same thing how I said it last week. The fan in me wants to see you start the season and finish the season with the team. I mean, I understand that you're making a business decision because, as I said, once again, you're going into the NFL. You're projected to be a top pick. You're getting your dream job. I still feel like if you are committed to the team from the beginning, you should stay committed all the way to the end and finish out the rest of the season. Because, I mean, if you don't have all those opt-outs for Florida State, you make it a decent game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a 60-point blowout. I'm not going to say it continues to be a blowout, but I think it's a closer game than what we got because this game was just atrocious. I mean, it was sad. I mean, Georgia holds 2 records in bowl games for the most dominant wins in the playoffs or in the bowl games these past 2 years. It's insane. So I don't like it. At the end of the day, it is a business. It is what it is. I mean, college football is turning into a business with NIL deals, with transfer portals, and now opt-outs. It's a big one. So I still think that they should finish the end of the season. And I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't going to be any more It wasn't going to be any better, but at least we could have got a more competitive game than what we got.
Yeah, it's man, I don't know how you fix it, but that should never happen in college football. And I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea how it's gonna work. And to me, it comes down to a calendar. They really got to fix this opt-out, transfer portal, NIL, all this whole calendar recruiting, it's all just a mess. It's such a mess that you're recruiting. Nick Saban was recruiting during a run to the college football playoffs. He was out doing that a couple weeks before the game, and I know they get a long layoff. They deserve to not be, practicing every day. But my goodness, like, how does that even make sense? You're out recruiting. I know that's been the way, but it's like we need to get a schedule. And how I feel like it would work, my idea on the schedule would be you have to opt out by a certain time. Like
I was just about to say the same thing. You opt out. I think it's just like the trade deadline. You have till the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that by the middle of the season, then you have to wait till the end of the season to opt out or to hit the transfer portal.
Maybe not that early, because then you got great players that might be on a championship team, so they're not going to opt out. But like, it should be like maybe like, all right, it's championship weekend, all right, SEC championship, all those games. After that game, like, you get 24 hours to make your decision, just in case if you're playing in the playoffs. You have to either opt out before they make these bowl games. Like, there should be a thing. Florida State should have never played Georgia. Like Kirby talked about it. Like, he's like, we should have never played that football team. That team was not a good football team. They just didn't have any talent on the field. All their talent was gone. And he is more than just a third-string quarterback, dude. Like, it was bad. And I've watched LSU win games where they're playing receivers at corner. It's possible. It's not impossible. I've seen it in bowl games before, but like, this is a joke. And I don't know how you do it. I think it comes down to a calendar where, all right, the day after championship games, you get 24 hours to make a decision to either opt in to the bowl game or opt out. And then after those opt-in, that period is passed, then they make the bowl game. So we don't get another situation like this, because there's other teams out there. It'll be a much more interesting game. Like, I'm not saying they deserved it, but like, there was some interesting football teams out there. Like, who wouldn't have wanted to see Oregon versus Georgia? Like, that's
what I was just thinking in my head, bro. Like, Oregon in that game would have been a shootout, bro. That would have been an absolute banger. And I know bangers. Yeah. That would have been a banger.
That would have been such a fun game with Bo still playing, and then put Florida State against Liberty. Like, all right, you still deserve a New York Six bowl game, but you get the worst team, because you are the worst team.
You're one of the worst teams in the New Year's Six.
And it just doesn't make sense. It should have never happened. I get it. Like, the whole idea behind it, Florida State gets their chance to prove it against the national champs, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But until they lose 20% of their team, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah. When I was putting this down our script here, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to say here. This is the stupidest thing. That game was a joke, man. I watched it. It was horrible. Never good. It was never good. And
stopped watching it at halftime. Yeah, it was just insane.
Me too. Who the hell's watching a game like that, dude?
I was working that day, and I just looked at the bartender. I was like, I'm turning this game off. Like, nobody's watching it. Like, nobody wants to watch this game.
No one wants to watch that kind of a game. So, I don't know. I'm the dumb guy that talks in front of a mic that will never get a say in these kind of things. But a calendar or something, they got to just figure out a way to avoid this as a possibility ever again. Yeah, you're never going to mess up the college football playoff games. No one's opting out of those games. But, man, like, with the 12 team, there's going to be a lot less opt-outs with the best team. So we're not going to really see that anymore. But still, it's just like, ugh.
I think next year will definitely change opt-out perspective. Like, the opt-out percentage will definitely drop next year, because the 12-man playoff, because you'll have, like, you're gonna play in a playoff game no matter what.
Yeah.
And so you really are going to have no reason to opt out unless you think, hey, I'm not going to be able to play. I don't want to play. I want to focus on my NFL career at this point. But next year with the 12-man playoff, the opt-out percentage will drop significantly.
Yeah, and that's just thinking about that. I was like, all right, well, that's a good step in the right direction at least. Well, so we'll see. I don't know. Opt-outs, that was just a joke. Like, that should never happen.
It should have never been a game. It should have never been a game.
There were so many good matchups this weekend and the past weekends. Like, how is this possible, man? How is this possible? But
I know.
All right, let's talk about another bowl game, CDM. It was a great game and a great end to the season for hotty toddy Ole Miss Rebels. Handle their business against Penn State and head into the season with very, 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 very high expectations. CDM, give your thoughts on the Rebels season this year. You know, it was kind of a crazy year for him.
I mean, first 11-win season. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, Lane Kiffin is building his own franchise over there, man. I mean, he's building it up. He's built it from the ground up. He's finally getting all of his players that he wants on the field on his roster. I respect Lane Kiffin all the way out from when he came from Alabama. I mean, he's been a great head coach. He's been a great coach no matter where he goes, and he can recruit, and that's what he does. He can recruit talent and get them to work, get them to come play for him. And next year, expectations will be high for this team because of everything that's come in with their transfer portal class, with the recruitment class as well. Everything will, I mean, there will be high expectations. But I mean, what a way to end the season on a high note, going up against a top 5 defense in college football, a really good Indy Lion team as well. Their offense was atrocious, but the defense was there for sure. I think Ole Miss is on the right track to go upward into the SEC and into the college football playoffs next season.
Yeah, man. I mean, this team is so stacked for next season. I'm keeping my eyes on the Rebels next year. But when it comes to this season, hey, you don't beat the teams you're not ready to beat, and they couldn't beat Bama and Georgia. Those are the powerhouses of the conference still, and they were not there yet. But it feels like, all right, you played both teams this year. You understand what it takes now to beat these. You know what it takes to beat Bama. You haven't passed that line yet, but you've played them. You know what kind of game they bring. Now you know what kind of game Georgia brings. They beat LSU, even though LSU's defense was terrible, but they still. Offense was incredible,
Yeah.
And they're getting a lot more defensive players for their defense. And, they beat some really good teams this year. So I'm so intrigued. What a way to end the year. Kind of head held high going into a season, an off season where you might win the SEC. So very interested to see what happens with the Rebels next year. But incredible year for Hotty Toddy. All right, CDO, let's close out this college football bowl game reactions. There was only so many games this weekend, so we didn't really want to dive too deep into some of these games. But I'm going to ask you, out of all the college football bowl games not in the playoffs, which one was your favorite?
I'm going to have to take Missouri versus Ohio State. I loved it. It may have been a 14-3 win, but it's also a Missouri team who had no expectations coming into this season of being where they were at now, going up against a powerhouse, a juggernaut in Ohio State, who could have made the playoffs this year, only had one loss. And, showing that how dominant the SEC was as well. I mean, it showed that Missouri is one of those teams that's not going to go away, that shows that they're going to be able to compete in the SEC with the tough competition that they have. And also showed the step back that Ohio State's going to be taking as well, in my opinion. I think they take a big step back next year until they find out who their quarterback's going to be. And after losing Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, it's going to be a big step back in the wide receiver room as well. But Missouri taking the dub over Ohio State was my favorite one for sure.
I love that. I mean, they game had a lot of hype, getting Brown to play, and obviously gets hurt, so it's just like an absolute, just atrocious performance on offense. But it was awesome to see Missouri handle their business, get a massive one. Another team next year that, if Brady's coming back, so interesting football team. You lose Schrader, that sucks because he's an absolute asset. That's a dog. So you're losing a lot. You're losing some good players, but what a program. Missouri coming out of nowhere and getting a big time New York Six bowl game win. Like, wow, so impressive for them. No one thought, like you said, no.
And they just signed their coach to an extension through 2028. Like, I mean, the dude's got something building over there. Now, if you can be one, now if all you have to do in the SEC is this, you got to be able to recruit.
Yep.
You can get the extension, but now you got to be able to recruit players to that school to make you 10 times better to compete with everybody else. So if he starts doing that now, if he hits on that now, then they could be in the next 2-3 years, they could be running the SEC East or the SEC in general. I mean, it's going to be the SEC is going to be the toughest conference to play in next year.
Yeah, definitely are. Definitely are. I'm so intrigued with what, can happen with Missouri and Ole Miss, speaking of, SEC. But my favorite game I'm gonna be a little bit of a homer. I watched a lot of bowl games, but there was two that caught my eye. Just great football games. I'm gonna go. First of all, just as a fun one, Washington Toledo. Awesome football game. 16-15. Just an absolute barn.
Did you say Washington
Wyoming.
Toledo?
Wyoming, sorry. Did I say Washington?
About this, yeah, you said Washington. I was like, Washington did not play Toledo.
Yeah, Wyoming, my fault. And
that was a fun game. That was a really good game.
Wyoming got the job done. But personally, my favorite, I feel like it was the best game of the weekend besides college football. College football playoff. LSU Wisconsin was an absolute great football game. It was entertaining. It was, Tanner Mordecai, he looked good. LSU defense makes every quarterback look like the best quarterback on the planet. So.
But he looked good, though. He did play good.
Genuinely, he looked really good. And I remember when he was at SMU slinging the rock, and I thought coming to Wisconsin was going to be a great move for him. Didn't work out. Wasn't as great of a season as I expected, but, that game was so good till the end. Garrett Nussmeier, Nuss Bus is here. Get on board now or forever hold your peace. It's time. Nuss is coming. Nolan said it at the end of our recap. LSU's coming for it all. Garrett Nussmeier is the guy. So, incredible. Just want to shout out my LSU Tigers.
I respect that. It was a good game, dude, because I really thought you were going to lose that game.
Yeah, I did too. And apparently I made an appearance on the Eagle Hour with my tweets last year, CDM, about LSU. And apparently I made another appearance on the Eagle Hour today. I was told.
Are they bashing you?
No, apparently it's just a good laugh. But yeah, they said my email had LSU in it, so that was they were working. They were working. Hey, they just mad. They hate us because they ain't us. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're at Southern Miss. That's why. Yeah,
you're right, Carson. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Good point. Okay. All right, let's get into some recruiting and transfer portal moves. We're going to kind of just slide through this and get into our game picks. We're going to try and keep this one a little bit on the shorter side when it comes to podcasts. But big time portal moves here. We're going to talk about one receiver in this recruiting class that has been in transfer portal class. That has been a hot commodity, but he's been kind of predictable. Everyone's kind of saw this one coming from a mile away, and it happens. Julian Fleming, former number 3 recruit in the 2022 class, is going to Penn State. That is
We are Penn State, baby. Let's go.
Hey, Nittany Lions. Hey, CDM, give me your reaction. I know you support this team, so give me
They needed him. They needed him so bad. It was insane. Drew Aller needed somebody to throw the ball deep to. Now the question is, now that they've gotten rid of their offensive coordinator, they need to get somebody in the building that's going to want to push the ball downfield more. And now they finally have a guy that Drew can push the ball downfield through, over the middle. At least throw him a 5-yard dump route and let him get 15 or 10 out of it. Somebody that's going to be able to give somebody on the outside that's not going to be Nick Singleton in the backfield having to take the majority of the carries. I love it. I think it was a great pickup I think it was a great decision on Fleming's path, just because they also heavy recruited him out of high school besides Ohio State. It's a great pickup. I love it. I think this is going to be a start of a great duo between him and Drew Aller. And, it's going to be fun when they have to play Ohio State next year. He's going to have to play his old school and hopefully, tear him up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Some foreshadowing right there. But we'll see, man. I love it. Once again, it's a great pickup for Penn State in that Nittany Lion offense.
Yeah, absolutely an amazing move for Penn State. We talked about it all offseason, how desperately they needed to get a receiver. It was just kind of a joke to watch them do their thing this year when it came to just skill set on the outside. So I ain't got much to say. You said it. It'd be awesome to see him kind of do his thing out there in Penn State, kind of, rewrite some history about his career, because, everyone was expecting him to be that guy and kind of wasn't, panning out with Ohio State, not getting the opportunities everyone thought he was going to deserve. But, now he's going to be the number 1 on a great football team with a young quarterback. I'm rooting for him. I've always liked Fleming, and he's going to be a guy. So shout out to Penn State, landing a recruit that they desperately
needed for sure.
And we got something else here real quick that we forgot to put in, but it happened this morning. It is official that we have Will Howard taking an official visit to Ohio State here. This is his first visit that he's going to be taking. He has visited Miami and USC and is also considering the NFL draft. So he's been waiting on Ohio State. It is now officially going to happen. And let's see, in upcoming days, a sign of mutual interest between the two parties. Yep. So that's what we're looking at here. Obviously, Miami and USC are massive players here. This is it's no doesn't mean like Ohio State's just going to come out of right field. Like this just seems like hey, just going to do my due diligence here. But CDM, quick thoughts. Would you like to see him at Ohio State?
It would be the safest option for him. I think so. I think it would be the cleanest option just because of the team they already have on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. They are losing Marvin Harrison Jr., and I think they do lose Ibuka this year as well to the draft. So wide receiver room's not going to be as loaded as it was these past few years when you had Olave, Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ibuka, Fleming. It's not going to be what it is.
What a class. What a freaking group
I
of
know,
players.
right? If you name all those out and it's just like, wow, like 3 first-rounders and then possibly 2 more first-rounders right behind them. It's insane. I would like to see him, in my honest opinion, I would like to see him go to USC, tag up with Lincoln Riley. It's still going to be in the Big Ten, but I know that USC does have the recruiting class from California. California's their bread and butter where they recruit at. So I feel like they're going to have a little bit more talent coming into next year. But if he does land up at Ohio State, it's going to be a steal. I think that would be an honest steal. I don't want him to go into the draft right now. I don't feel like he's there. I don't feel like he's got the draft stock up yet to really be that guy in the draft. Now, if he waits till next year, he totally could be possibly number 3, number 2 quarterback off the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't want to see him go to the draft either. So, I mean, I would love to see him. I would love to see him in Miami. That would be fun. Kind of.
Ooh, him and Cristobal.
It just feels like a little bit. Ohio State feels like the smart one. USC sounds like the greatest thing for his career, just because of what Lincoln Riley does there. Miami sounds like the funnest one of all of them, in my opinion. I just love the idea of him playing in Miami. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't want to see him go to the draft either. So I mean, that you said that. I just want to kind of reiterate that point. Like, nah, I think he's got another year of like you said, he could put himself in that top conversation. A guy that did commit to the NFL draft. Kind of a shock. I am little shocked by this. Not a fan of it, but I like the player. So, hey, this guy can do a lot of things on the football field. Cam Ward. Yes, he is going to the NFL draft. Had an amazing start to the college football season this year with Washington State. Everyone thought it was a kind of a clear cut. He's going to enter the portal, find a team and try to make a run at it next year with a contender. That's not the case. That is not the case. That does not happen. And man, oh man, I mean, CDM, what's your thoughts on this move? I mean, I've looked at some stats with where he is at stock-wise. I mean, a little shocking, right?
For sure. I think so as well. He was so prolific this year, man. I mean, he looked like he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in next year's class. He could have been. I think he was going to be one of the top 4 guys out of that quarterback class next year if he were to stay. I wish he took a visit to Miami. I wish he would have considered it a little bit more because I don't think he's ready for the NFL yet. I don't know. I haven't really seen him play throughout his entire college career, but it didn't sit right with me because what he did this year and what he was going to be able to do next year if he stayed, he was going to be a top dog. But best of wishes to him. Honestly, I hope he succeeds in the NFL. But I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the move either because when I saw it, I was like, what? Then I was like, all right, I got to see where this guy's prospect. Like, where is he projected? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a top 10 quarterback. No, he's not.
Where is he projected?
So ESPN didn't even have him on the rankings, first of all.
Ooh.
They only go to like 104 right now and only like 7 quarterbacks. So he's not in that. CBS Sports has him. Let's see, draft stock. He is the 125th prospect in the CBS Sports projections here, and the 12th quarterback in the class. And I didn't look at the 11 above him to kind of like, that's not true. But it feels like that's a pretty solid landing spot, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I feel like you just need to play it out one more year, one more solid year on a better team like Miami. Miami's desperate for a quarterback, and him and that offense could have made it 10 times more electric, especially with how the ACC is going to be next year. I don't think they're going to be the strong. I think they're going to be one of the weakest conferences besides the Big 12.
Yeah. And so, a little shocking, man. I'm just like, what? Don't love the move for the guy. I'm a fan of Cam Ward too. I just don't think he's ready for the NFL yet. Feels like an
I don't think he is either. But I do love this move. Speaking of quarterbacks, we do have a quarterback on the move going back to the ACC. DJ Uiagalelei heading back to the ACC for the Florida State Seminoles. I'll start this one off. I love the move. I love it. I think moving on from Jordan Travis this year, this gives you another quarterback with some experience, especially in the same conference that he played in. He played against you as well. He's beaten you before. But that's besides the point. This gives you a quarterback that you know what you're getting into. You know that you can trust him with the ball and put the ball in his hands, and good things can happen. I expect them to win the conference next year, and I feel like that's not a hot take. I feel like that should be everybody's plan, that Florida State will win the ACC again next year, and they have somebody taking the snaps that's going to possibly lead them to that. I love DJ. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't feel like he got the right opportunity at Clemson. Feel like he had too much pressure going into that one, especially after they just let Trevor Lawrence go into the draft. And then going into Oregon State is where he really blossomed, in my opinion, is where people really found out what type of player he can be. And I mean, he's got a big cannon. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's super athletic. I mean, he's 6'5", 6'6". He's got the big build for it. So I love the move. I love the move for Florida State, especially after what they're losing. And I think it's going to be the best. I think it's the best move for him going forward.
Yeah, it's such a good move for Florida State. Apparently, Travis was in the conversations to get him there, which makes sense.
Yeah, I heard about that. I like that.
It's awesome to see that. And listen, DJ's had a crazy career. You kind of laid it out, unreal expectations coming out of high school. I mean, he was the number one prospect and number one quarterback, and everyone was talking about how he's going to be the next Trevor Lawrence, and that's just unreal expectations. He's been kind of, been a tough spot his entire career when it comes to expectations. And then he goes to Oregon State and shows that he can run an NFL offense. Like, I don't know if you watched much of Oregon State's offense, but it's much more ground and pound, under center, things that you see in the NFL, which, yeah, maybe his stats weren't like, oh my God, Jaden Daniels numbers or Michael Penix numbers. No, he didn't put that up. But when you watch him, you're like, oh, this guy could run an NFL offense. And when you watch what Florida State did, I know they're losing a lot of weapons, like literally all their weapons, but literally everybody. But him in that system, I mean, I love it. I love it. And they're gonna reload. Florida State's gonna be fine. They'll have players. Can they win the conference again? We'll see. That conference, like you said, I mean, it's open. That's why we thought Cam Ward to Miami would have been such a great move, because Miami could win the division or conference with a quarterback. So it feels like Florida State's going to be right in the running there. Clemson's probably going to be the favorites now, just because Cade's kind of solidified himself as QB1, maybe in the whole conference. So, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what could happen. I think it's just a perfect move for both sides at the end of the day. DJ has a chance to really, put himself into some conversations here in the NFL draft, with what he did at Oregon State. And, like you laid it out. I mean, his size is like, that's got to be, scouts will be looking at him and be like, oh my God, like, I love this.
Drooling at the mouth, man. I mean, he's going to be able to see over the offensive line. He's going to be able to see everything downfield. I mean, it's that Josh Allen build, that Justin Herbert build that you were really looking forward into quarterbacks now.
Yes. Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, when it comes to a prospect, he's an interesting prospect. Very interesting prospect.
Oh, yeah. There's some question marks for sure. But if you buff him out, if you buff out the edges, you could see that there's a talented quarterback under all of that. You just got to work with him.
Yep. 100%. 100% got to work with him. And, hey, elevate yourself, DJ. I've always been a fan. He's not been perfect, but I've always liked you, DJ. So I would love to see him kind of, Hey, pull something off. Hey, get Florida State
Yeah.
to the playoffs. Hey, why not? Hey, why?
Yeah, get them to the playoffs, man. Have Florida State home football game, playoff game. Oh my gosh, dude,
That'd be
that
fun.
stadium would be insane.
That would be fun. But yeah, DJ, let's see what you can do. Rooting for you, brother. Let's talk about something that'll make CDM super, 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 super happy. The man that ruined your season. We've talked about him all year. We talked about how bad he has been all freaking year. And now he has officially entered the portal. Alabama starting center Seth McLaughlin is expected to hit the transfer portal. Pretty much confirmed.
Bye. Deuces. So long. Don't care. Go play in the Canadian Football League. Bye. You're trash. You're absolutely god-awful. All year long, this dude could not get a snap up. And the one time I need you to get a snap up, you decide to shit the bed. So you know what? I have no sympathy for you. I'm not going to send you death threats because you probably already got 5,000 of those emails in your right now, man. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You probably just got shit on. But at the end of the day, bye. You were not the one that you couldn't tell me there's not like a 4-star or a 3-star right underneath him that could snap the ball better. I mean, come on now. Come on, let's think about that. There had to be somebody underneath him that was better than him at snapping a football. I mean, shit, go watch Jason Kelsey just snap a ball and just see the athletic position Jalen Hurts has to get into, okay? That's what you got to prepare yourself for that, okay? Jalen Miller shouldn't have to go and bend down past his waist to go get the ball, okay? But, best of wishes to you, but bye. I don't ever want to see you again. If we see you in the playoffs, I hope we wreck your ass. But, at the end of the day, bye, so long, farewell, don't care.
I bet you kind of hope you play against them because y'all just cook them up. Oh, my God.
Oh, dude, I'm 100%. I know one thing. I'd scream it out. The ball's going to be below your ankles, man. So just go. All you have to do is just aim for the ball because it's going to be either below his ankles or right by him.
I had to throw that one in there for you, Carson. I know you wanted to get
Oh,
that
no,
off
I'm not happy that you did. I had to get some of that off my chest.
Well, yeah, that's the big one. So he's gone. Lucky for you. But now let's talk about some other guys here. Let's move on to KJ Jefferson. He has now entered the portal. Wait. Yes. Oh, no. He landed. He landed.
Gus Malzahn has landed him at the USF Knights. UCF. Oh, my bad. UCF Knights have landed KJ Jefferson since John Rice Plumlee has entered the NFL draft. I like it. I think it's a good pickup. He's been a 5-year starter at Arkansas. He's put up amazing numbers there as well. He's a big body running type of quarterback with a big arm. Has some moments where does need to work on passing accuracy a little bit on all perspective, small, medium, and long. But I like the pickup. At least you have a veteran guy back there now that you can have some trust in.
Yeah. Yeah, KJ, UCF, that's a good move for Gus. Like, shout out to Gus, kind of just retooling. John Rice was so electric, and he has a hell of a career. He's going to the draft. So, hey, UCF, like, why not win some games? You're in the Big 12. Hey, build this thing up. You got a veteran. KJ was awesome, at his peak. So he can kind of, lean up maybe, kind of work on that passing. And, UCF, interesting team next year. I mean, people really forget that they're in the Big 12 now. Like, they're in a conference that can make the playoffs. So, they're recruiting really well. And so, interesting. See what UCF can do in the Big 12. So, I like it. A little shocking, but I loved it. So, CDM, let's move on to another quarterback that made a move.
Shocking. Very, very shocked by this one.
Yeah, Kadon Salter in the portal, man. That's a shocking move here. And, just a little bit more developing in that quarterback transfer portal. More guys just keep getting added. And, I mean, I'm curious, CDM. Just quick little landing spot for the guy. What are you thinking?
Auburn. I think Auburn would be the team to make a move for him because he's good, man. He's good. Like he can throw the ball. He can sling the rock. He's athletic. He can run. He looks like he knows how to read a defense pretty well, especially for him being a freshman. or a red. Is he a redshirted freshman, or is he like a sophomore now?
I think he's either a freshman, a redshirt, or a sophomore, because he played last year against Southern, but I don't know if he played enough games to get rid of his red shirt, so I'm not too sure.
I want to say he's a freshman, probably going in to be a sophomore.
I'll let you know.
But I mean, it's weird for me because of all the success he just had at Liberty. But Auburn needs a quarterback. Auburn needs a dead like they need just a simple quarterback because they ran this two quarterback thing all year long and it didn't really play out. They need somebody that they can full on trust, and I think he could be the guy as well. I mean, I'm not gonna root for him, but I feel like he would be I feel like he'd be a solid pickup for them as well to get back into play in the SEC. Either that or UCLA as well. UCLA losing Moore going to Oregon. They need somebody as well with some athletic type of play, and I feel like he would fit that process.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Garber's at the UCLA, but that would be kind of interesting, right? Kind of get another guy in there, test that guy that kind of took the job for Moore. But, I mean, I'm looking at his stats. I didn't realize he had such a good year, man. My gosh. By the way, sophomore. He is a sophomore.
Okay.
Dude, yeah, I mean, this guy's stats, 32 tuds, only 6 picks, 61% completion percentage, almost 300 yards. Like, hell of a year from the guy. So,
yeah.
There's one team, and I've talked about him already. Auburn's smart. Like, that's probably what would happen. It seems like a guy Freeze would get. I mean, he's from Liberty. So, I mean, makes sense. But there's a team, man. If they can't get Will Howard, man, why not Miami, man? Like, they need a guy. Why not go take a wild card on him? If you've already lost out on Cam Ward and Will Howard, you're gonna have to go take a wild card on someone because
I
mean, you gotta have a quarterback, and with Van Dyke gone, I mean, the backup's not bad, but he's not a championship player, and they could compete for that conference. So, hey, I would love Salter there. I watched him play. He was the backup last year for Liberty when Blackman was in for him. And he got hurt. Blackman got hurt. And, oh, my gosh,
he came in and tore it up.
Dude, I mean, he's the only reason, that they won that game. Like, I was like, why is this guy not starting, bro? And then this year does what he does. I'm a fan of the guy. I've watched him play live with my own eyes. So, I'm interested. I'm interested to see where he will land. He's a interesting quarterback. Not the best quarterback, but interesting.
Interesting for sure. I think wherever he lands, somebody is getting a ball player there. Somebody is getting a dog.
They are getting a guy. So, hey, shout out.
I think that will.
Wait. One more thing. We didn't put it in.
Oh,
but little reaction here. Number one.
Oh yeah, LSU getting 5-star 2025 running back.
Yep, number one in the class.
Chose the Tigers over Texas and Alabama, two of the top three teams that he picked. And he chose the Tigers, man. I like the pickup. I do. It's a solid pickup for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna come out here and act like I know the guy. Like I watched some highlights before we got on, but not gonna come on here and be like, yeah, he's the best player of all time.
He's a dog, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like
all year, I watched him all year. No, like I have not. So I'm not gonna come on here and cap. But watched some highlights before we got on, and he's a guy. I mean, it makes sense why he was, number one in the class. But obviously, he's only 2025, so a lot of things can change. These guys that get ranked and stuff this year, one bad season, they could be the 5th guy, next season. So might not even be a 5-star. So, I mean, these players in high school, they change so rapidly. So I didn't want to come on here and be like, oh, I mean, this guy's the greatest of all time. He's just that guy. But
I actually know him personally.
I actually helped him in his process of picking a team.
He actually texted me for advice, and I just said, go to LSU, man.
LSU, that's the team. Let's be honest.
But I think that will sum up our recruiting our college football transfer portal.
Yes.
Now we get into the final game pick of the season, Nathan.
Yes, indeed. The national championship game in Houston. If you were tuning in earlier, obviously saw these beautiful graphics with Nolan beside him when he made his pick, but now it's time for me and CDM to give y'all what we think in these games. Man, CDM, what a year But it is
What a
finally
year.
coming to an end. And man. Wow. I mean, it comes down to the two undefeated teams. What a shock. And, man, these two teams. I mean, CDM, let's look at a little tail of the tape here before we make our picks. We've already seen it once, but let's see it again here. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. You see what Washington's good at, and you see what Michigan's good at. And, man, Penix versus JJ, with them playing as good as they are playing right now, I mean, it does not get better than this. So
I'm just looking at the points per game, bro. My God, Washington puts up almost 40 points a game.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous,
Like,
isn't it?
good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Points allowed, though, is 24. Good Lord, 24 points. And then Michigan's only allowing 10 points. So, I mean, we saw what their defense did Monday. We saw what their defense is capable of. And then the turnovers, dude. Oh, my God. 17 turnovers compared to Washington's 2. That's just insane, dude. Insane.
Yep.
I
Yards
mean,
per game allowed is pretty
it's-
crazy for Washington as well. They allow 400 yards a game. So, I mean, that's just crazy, you know.
Yeah, allowing 400 yards a game gives me USC PTSD from the middle of the season, where that team was just letting up 400 or 500 yards a game.
Fair. That's a fair statement. But, yeah, man, tail of the tape says it all. It tells you exactly what you need to see in this game. Best offense versus best defense. Maybe not. Best defense for sure. Washington's offense is absolutely humming as well. So, man.
No, it's the best offense.
I think it's the best offense. But you can make some cases around college football. Oregon was pretty
No, I mean,
good.
I would say in the playoffs. In the playoffs, it's the best offense.
Without a doubt in the playoffs. With the best
Yeah.
throwing quarterback, in the league. And so, I mean, hey, CDM, let's lay the groundwork, brother. 4.5. 55
It'll
and a
go
half
down.
over and under.
I think it goes down.
I think it goes closer to Washington. I think we're going to be sitting around 3.5, 3 for the kickoff. So.
I would say 3 to 2.5. I would say
I
3 to 2.5.
I like 2.5. They'd like to get that 2.5, so a field goal could get you some points. So wouldn't be shocked by that. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't moved yet. Has not moved. I've been trying to keep an eye on it for. Let's see. All right, you think it's moved, CDU?
I think it moved to like 3.5 probably.
Not yet. 4.5 still. So it's holding strong a little bit right now. A little shocking, but by the time we get to the weekend and stuff, people will start putting their money down on Washington. I imagine move that.
Yeah,
line.
I'm gonna make a bet. I'm gonna make a bet. My first ever bet that I've ever made in my life.
Good.
And I'm putting my money on Washington.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna put the money on Washington. I'm gonna take the fun bet. Michigan is a safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Washington is like the one that you could win money, like the one that you are definitely gonna win money from if they win this game. So I'm gonna put the bet on Washington. That is not me taking Washington. That is me putting a bet on Washington.
Oh, you got a little bit of a wind up here. Where are we going with on this pick, CDU?
Well, man, let me just tell you right now, man, it's hard. I just saw what Michigan could do against my team, man. I just saw what Washington could do against anybody in the country. And I hate to say this, man, but give me the Huskies, man. Give me the Huskies taking the Natty all the way. Give me Michael Penix Jr. and that offense taking the national championship and making Jim Harbaugh stay another year at Michigan. Give me the Washington Huskies winning it all this year.
Got a score prediction for us?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me think. Let me think about that. Let me
Let's
think
see
about that while you give me your take. But give me Washington. Let me think about that real fast.
Well, I'm so happy, CDM, that you've come over to the dark side. It's about time. I've been telling everyone all season what this team can and cannot do, where they're good and where they're not good, who's their best players and who's not their best players. Yeah, I've been on this team since day one, and I'll tell you what, I was the most ecstatic person besides probably a lifelong Washington fan on Monday. It was a beautiful moment for me to see my team that I desperately love. And I picked them this season to make the playoffs. And I'm not saying I didn't say they were going to win a championship. As the season progressed, I saw it. This is a possibility. This is real. Like they're going to make the playoffs. I was right about that. Holy crap! This team might win a championship. This team might win a championship. And here we are.
The big boy stage of them all.
It's the big boy. It's the moment. It's the dance that everybody wants to dance in. the national championship game, facing off against, one of the better teams we've seen in the college football playoff era with this Michigan squad. Statistically, you could talk about this being one of the best defenses of all time. You can say that and not be laughed at. Is it right? That's perspective. Washington has their biggest test in front of them. They beat Oregon twice. They beat Texas. They beat the good teams that have been in their way, but they have not beat Michigan. They have not beat a team like Michigan. No team they have faced off this entire year has had a defense like Michigan, a coach like Michigan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Washington, the Huskies, are coming forward all this year. This is not a fluke. This is not a TCU moment. This is not that down. Nope. This is their moment.
No, this is nowhere near TCU moment at all. This game does not live up to the hype. That game did not live up to the hype this game's living up to right now.
Oh, this one right here. I'm telling you, the hype, the anticipation for this game will be on another level. People will talk about we wanted Texas versus Alabama. Those teams lost. We get Michigan versus Washington. People talk about, I wouldn't mind Texas versus Michigan. I wouldn't mind Michigan.
We get that
Texas.
week 2 next season. It'd be fun.
Yeah, that's not happening. We get the matchup between the two best teams in the country, undefeated all season, unblemished. This is their moment. One team will go down, and it will be the Wolverines against the Huskies. This is happening. The Huskies are going to do it. Penix is going to come out there and put together a case that NFL scouts are going to be saying, Jesus Christ, this is a tough choice for that number 1 pick. I'm just saying, they're not going to make it easy on these scouts. Michael Penix.
No.
Penix is going to come out here and sling that rock around, really show you. And I talked about Michigan. I talked about Washington not facing a team like Michigan. Michigan hasn't played a quarterback like Michael Penix. Just
facts.
They have
Facts.
not.
Straight facts.
They have not.
I have my score prediction.
Okay.
Washington is winning the game 40-37.
I like it. Point differential, very close. These two games this past weekend kind of showed me, like, all right, I'd be kind of shocked by like an absolute shootout, just because these coaches are so like situationally sound. They're not going to.
There's only one thing that Michigan does have them beat in the coaching department, though. I will not lie. Coaching, they do have them beat in the coaching department.
That's what's kind of why I'm like, all right, this is not going to be some kind of blowout or anything. Like, Michigan's going to be ready. Michigan's been wanting this moment more than anybody in the entire country for a very long time. I'm like, Michigan is a hard team not to bet for in this game. Like, this is their moment. They can really do it finally. Something about this Washington team, man. There is just something about them that makes me just, I don't know. And it just feels like it's their moment too. No 5 stars. DeBoer comes in. He's won everywhere he's coached. Penix, follows him. And this is his moment, man. And all I can say is Washington will get the win. Jim will outcoach Washington. He will outcoach DeBoer. But Penix will win the game on a once-in-a-lifetime moment drive. They're going to have a chance for a field goal in this game, Carson.
I'm thinking 75-yard drive for the win.
That's hear me out. Like, the drive, minute and a half left, walk it down the field. It's about 20 seconds left. It's going to be 4th down and 2. They're going to have a decision. Take the field goal.
Romo Dunze.
Or find the end zone. Or just get a first down. It's going to be the play of all plays. Romo Dunze down the sideline, top of the screen, right into the back corner of the end zone, dragging the 2 toes. It's going to be 2 toes. Dragging the 2 toes.
Back shoulder fade.
Right there. Knocked down in the basket. Win the game with about 13 seconds left. It's over. They win the game 34-30. Give me it. Book it right now. I left you in silence.
Sorry, I was texting somebody. No, I totally agree. I think that Washington, I'm saying 75-yard drive, 4th and 5, and as you said before, you either go for it or you kick the field goal. I say you go for it. I say you grab that wheelbarrow, you grab it, you place your bad boys in there, and then you wheel that bad boy around because you are going to take it home with you. And I think Rome Odunze solidifies himself as possibly should have been the Blitnikoff Award winner. I think Rome Odunze has a game. I think, Michigan's defense didn't really play against the most elite wide receiving core in Alabama, but they are going to have a big matchup coming into this one, going up against these elite Washington wide receiving core with also elite quarterback play as well. It's going to be a game, man. As you said, the dance of all dances. So I'm excited. I'm ready for Monday night to get here and get this game on.
Right there with you, brother. Right there with you. I think that'll do it for us, CDM. I think that'll do it for us.
That'll do.
Hey, man, what a year. What a year.
What a year for College Kings. First ever season, man, and I would say total success. Total, complete success.
Grew every episode, my man. Grew every episode. And we're going to keep growing. This is not over. Scheduling will change. We're not going to be doing it every week, but we will still be giving y'all content. We joining in with the Pound Perspective once draft season comes around, which is here. Draft season is here.
Baseball season, college baseball season comes around, I'll be hitting y'all up as well. Yep. See me at P. Taylor Park for a couple of vlogs as well. I'm going to be trying to do those. College basketball, I'm going to start getting into that as well because, after football season's over, basketball season starts for me. Yep. Sorry, people call me stupid for that, but that's just me. After football season's over, that's when my basketball season starts.
I'm right there with you. You got to get the football out of the way first.
Got to get football out of the way. That's bread and butter. Yep. Bread and butter, and then we go on to the other stuff because then March is almost here. Either way, March is like literally 2 months away. So after Monday, I really got to get into it.
Yeah, we'll have to do our brackets live. That'll be fun. We'll have to do those.
Oh, that would be a fun one to do.
So we'll have to do that. But yeah, like I said, that'll do it for us in this episode of the almost College Kings. Jeez, I'm all over the place.
College Kings, man.
College Kings, man. College Kings. What a year it's been. Been here every step of the way since week 0. We've been kind of putting this thing together, and every single week it feels like we've gotten better, and we appreciate everyone that listens and watches, and obviously you can find it on all podcast platforms, YouTube. Come and watch with us. We're really trying to put some effort into this video, so in our video production here. So please come in, watch us, give us some comments, man. Like, subscribe, all those beautiful things. But yeah, thank you, CDM, for an awesome season.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for the best season ever.
Yes. What a college football year. What a year for College Kings. And that'll do it for us. We will see y'all next week for our reactions to the greatest college football championship of all time.
Oh, it's going to be a doozy, man.
It's going to be a doozy. Can't wait to see y'all there. Peace.
Deuces.